your ruler,
Sold.
your lands, your possessions, your very lives will gladly be given in tribute to me.
So, you guys know what it's like to get burnout on a game or a game genre, right? I definitely know what it's like to get burnout on a game. That's why primarily, even though I would like to, like for example, I would like to Guardians of the Galaxy, for example. I would love to just play the same game day, you know, every day, like go play it the next day until I was done, right? But man, that's what I used to do, like when I was younger. But now I like I don't ever marathon a game anymore. Like I just enjoy it enjoy it in pieces. I enjoy it in pieces, and I do the same thing with shows. I used to like, well, I'm watching just one show until it's done, and then I'll move on to the next show. I don't. I bounce around in between show and show, and I watch them all spliced. And that's probably not a good way to do it, but you know, that's just how I do it. But for video games, like, I feel like if I were to play the game until the game is over, by the time the game was over, I would get burnt out. So one day I'll play this game, the next day I'll play the next game, and then a different game, and then maybe 2 or 3 days later I'll go back to the game that I was playing before and continue some of that story. I figured if I do it that way, I don't ever get burnt out on certain types of gameplay. But anyways, this is regarding that. Let's jump into it.
Someone said to me that they don't enjoy MMORPGs anymore. They don't enjoy them as much as they used to when they were a kid.
Let me fix it.
And I said, okay, whatever game you played when you were a kid, how long did you play it for? And they're like, oh, hours. Every day after school, come home, hours invested into it. I knew all the NPCs, I knew all the shortcuts, I knew how to kill all the bosses, I knew all the little in-jokes. Okay, cool. And how long have you played this new game that you're trying to recapture that magic with? Day or two. Sometimes, if you invest a lot of time into something, you form a connection with it. Not necessarily parasitic.
Are we doing the IKEA analogy? Or are we going to do IKEA here? Because that's effectively what he's saying. No, he's right about this.
Not even necessarily Stockholm Syndrome. Sometimes it's a genuine, loving, deep connection, even with a game. And you have that, and you enjoy that, and no one can take that away from you. And then when a new MMO comes along and you jump in and you play, you're almost expecting that game to have the emotional depth and connection and complexity and richness that you've spent years forming in another one. Imagine if you have a fantastic relationship and then the relationship ends for whatever reason, either good or bad, and then you start a relationship with someone else. You won't have all those little quirks. You won't have the same love language. You won't have the same...
Dude, it's I set up the video before I even start, right? And I set it up, and then for some reason, when I go back to it, all the stuff that I set up for this video gone, and it's a black screen, and then I have to redo it while I'm recording. I have to redo it. It's like, you know, that shit pisses me off, dude. Anyway, sorry for the black screen, and that's what happens if you ever see a black screen like that. It's technical gremlins, technical difficulty gremlins.
Because you haven't spent enough time with them to build it up.
Look how many tabs he has open.
Say, oh, I had my most amazing MMORPG ever as a child, and now I'm just jumping from MMO to MMO. You sometimes aren't giving those new games enough time, enough chance to form the same emotional connection that you had.
That's what I think one of the problems is with reviews nowadays, is that people make reviews for games without really playing the game. They have like a day one review of the game, and like
what he just described. What he just described is something that I'm so guilty of with video games and shows too. Nowadays is I can't. When I was younger, I would just be, I am not doing anything else until this is what I'm doing, I will play this game and this game alone for however many weeks until it is done, right? Until it is finished and complete and I've done everything and I've seen everything. And that allows you, when you're just focused on one game or one show for however long it takes, so 2 weeks, a month, blah blah blah, it allows you to fully immerse, you know, be completely in that. But these days I'm so ADD, like one day it's this game, the next day it's this game, the next day it's another game, the next day it's another game, the next day it's another game. And I have so many games in my backlog, I feel like I have to hop around between them. But there's just a huge backlog of games. And I do the same thing with shows, and I know I already said that, but it's like, if I didn't do it that way, and I just went back to how I used to do it when I was younger, and just focused on one thing, I'd probably enjoy it and appreciate it more. I'd probably get more immersed, and immersion is key. Immersion is great. When you can get immersed in something, like recently, for example, people were complaining in my Twitch streams, sometimes I'd have someone pop in and they'd hear the echo from my TV, and I was like, you know what, you're right, that's probably it's probably a shitty experience, and why would you want to stick around in my stream, in my Twitch stream, if you can notice an echo? And I'm like, the only way I can get rid of that is if I stop listening to the game through the TV and I listen through my headphones. So I switched all the audio from the TV to my headphones only. So all the output was to my headphones. So I'm listening to the game atmosphere in my headphones. And dude, it increased. I didn't want to do it because I knew it would drain the battery on the controller way faster. But holy crap, the immersion increase that it allowed was like, man, that's good. Immersion is good shit.
Simply not super important to me, because that's going to be literally one day. I'm waiting to see, like, what is it like after you've played the game for 300 hours? Do you look back after 500 hours of playing this game and think, man, I'm really glad I did that? Because I think those are the reviews that really fucking matter.
With an old game.
Probably not.
People say, oh, I love World of Warcraft, and I play a new game and it's not the same.
Yeah, of course not.
Okay, well, maybe if you played that new game for the same amount of time that you played Warcraft, you would have maybe a similar connection to it. But time investment is a really big thing. People need that. Yeah, but it's a similar argument to it gets good after 100 hours. Absolutely.
Because there's only so much time.
I think when people say, oh, this game isn't as fun as another game, yes, the gameplay does need to be accessible. Yes, it needs to be tight. It needs to be
I think there's like 50 different elements to this. There's like, whenever you eventually started playing WoW, you were probably in high school or middle school, or like maybe you just started college. Now you're in a completely different point in your life, and there's a million other games competing for your attention.
Exactly.
So you don't feel like this is the one big game. And I think that's another big factor, right? It's age, the place you are in your life, the success you have in the game, the friends you make in the game, all kinds of shit like that. It's not just the time investment, but I do think that Josh is totally right, is that, yeah, you can't expect to have the fulfillment that you got out of a game for 10,000 hours in the first 10 hours of a new game. That's probably true.
Actively well made, it needs to have some subjective enjoyment to you, but it's also impossible to form the same emotional bonds within 5 hours that you've spent 5 years forming. It's impossible to do.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. I totally fucking agree with that. Speaking of 100 hours,
is that footage? Is that Dragonflight?
I've heard a lot about it, but that was about it. But yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of people that say I don't enjoy MMOs anymore. And I think, yes, some of it has to do with time, some of it has to do with age, some of it has to do with time in your life. There are just so many factors, etc. Good summary why it's hard for new MMOs to be successful. The new game doesn't only have to be better, it has to be so much better, so special at the beginning. People willingly cut out the connections they've been building for years to older games for the new game to give it a full chance. Yeah, I think that's the factor too, because a lot of times people play a new game for a little while and then they quit playing it. Every time that a new one of these games comes out, I really do try to play it a lot. Like, I don't want to play a game for like 5 hours and then go and say, yeah, this game is bad. Or play the game for 5 hours and say,
well, if you're not having a good time in those
like,
5
example,
hours,
I mean, again, like you
then why continue?
Lost Ark 1.3 thousand hours, and I stopped playing it like months ago.
And that's how I feel
so
about
I stopped
it.
playing
And
it
that's how it
daily
should
months
be.
ago. You look at New
If
World here. What
it
the fuck
didn't
is New World?
absolutely
Valheim,
suck
right?
me in and enthrall me in those 5 hours, then fuck it. Why waste my time?
How many hours I put into Valheim? I don't know why it doesn't. But yeah, I put like 200 hours into Valheim as well, somewhere around there. Let's see, New World, obviously 1,000 hours into that, and then another 300 into the Test Realm. And so I played these games a lot, and that's why I do it, is because I want to make sure that the reviews of the games are actually comprehensive. That these are actual good reviews rather than just bullshit reviews. And the reason why I care about that is because I don't really do them for money. Like, yes, obviously we put ads on YouTube videos, but if I was trying to make money, I certainly don't think that a 1 million view video for 1,000 hours is worth it. This is not a proportional use of my time. So it's something that I want to do because I just like doing the reviews.
Yeah, I disagree. I disagree. I don't think you have to play a game for 1,000 hours to see if you're gonna feel like it was worth it or enjoy it. Because what are you gonna be doing differently in this? What is vastly going to be different about the gameplay in the 20th, 50th, 100th, 500th, let alone the freaking 1,000th hour, that you're not already getting a taste of in the first 5 hours? That's too much. That's how I feel about it anyways. But I appreciate you guys for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, and all of that, and follow me on Twitch if you have a Twitch account, and I appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.